Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and guess what? No guest today, but that's all totally fine because it's now just a solo show. Han Solo. Wish we could play some little Star Wars here, but we don't want to get flagged by Disney or YouTube or anything like that. But yeah, just another Han Solo episode, I guess you would call it. It's just me, myself, and I. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everybody that has been tuning in and continue to support the show. I really appreciate it. So a little bit of breaking news. I have just made officially 1 year here at Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. And by the way, shout out to Steve Behind the Glass and shout out to Marv. So yeah, this is a big thing for me because I've been a fan of Bravery Studios even before I brought my podcast over here. And I knew that I eventually wanted to come here and start recording and do shows and everything. And then finally did it. And then now it has been a full year. And I want to thank Marv specifically for allowing me to be a part of basically evergreen here at Bravery Studios, because now First Class, Second Place is in the Bravery Studios Hall of Fame, in the Wall of Fame, whatever you want to call it. But either way, I really appreciate it, and I feel like I couldn't have done it with everybody that has been so supportive and being there for the show and continue to consume the show and so on and so forth. And listen, at the end of the day, I still would have done the show, but it gives me even more energy to keep on doing it for not just myself, but for you people. So I want to thank you very much, first and foremost. Also, I want to give a huge birthday shout out to my one and only abuelo, Jose Cervantes. He's now 101 years old today. God bless the man. I could only hope to be as healthy as that man is, and God bless him. The crazy thing is, he's been walking on this earth now for 101 years now, literally, and his body isn't it's fragile now. He's not as strong as he used to be, but it's amazing how this man's mind is still sharp as a tack. This is a guy that reads the Bible every single day. He would read newspapers every day. This isn't a guy that had a lot of education growing up, but he was able to make a true person of himself and do a lot of things, and he's lived a very great life, and he's living his best life right now in Colombia, of all places. And, I haven't seen him in years, unfortunately, even before COVID. But, thank God for technology that we could still be able to keep in touch and FaceTime and so on and so forth. But, yeah, huge happy birthday to him. And shout out to the family, my moms and Pedro, and everybody that went down there to Colombia to visit him for his birthday. And I got a chance to really speak to him today for about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And it's really amazing that the life this man has lived and the way that he has taken care of himself and his positive thinking and being able to uplift those. I always joke around that my grandfather sounds like the Spanish version of Morgan Freeman, because he does have that deep authoritative voice, and maybe that's where I actually get it from. I don't know. The only difference is that his is natural, and he was able to, it just comes to him. I think I had the benefit or lack of benefit, if you want to call it that, from smoking cigarettes, and I think that's the reason you hear this voice now that you hear today. But yeah, big happy birthday to my grandfather, and also rest in peace to my grandmother, who unfortunately is no longer with us. She passed away several years ago, but she's still with us in our hearts and everywhere else. So now we are in the end of January of 2024, and I gotta tell you, the last time that I did a solo episode, I did it because I feel like I needed to get a lot off my chest, and I did. And, I want to thank everybody that was very receptive of that episode, because they saw the vulnerability within me and how raw and honest I was with myself and everybody watching and listening. And, one of the things that kind of, I appreciate is, a lot of them said that they don't know a lot of people, or just a person in general, that would be as open and honest and vulnerable as I have on a platform like this. And I appreciate that, but I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like I'm noticing more now, more than ever, that, especially in my little bit of advanced age of my late 30s, that it's, what do you got to lose? What do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. It's not a big thing to put yourself out there. I think we're living in a time now where people are actually more receptive to listening to you and hearing you out and what's going on, as opposed to the era that I grew up in, where if you claimed that you had issues with your mental health, or you were not doing well, or you were anxious and depressed, then you were looked at or is perceived as a pussy. Especially being a Hispanic male like myself and coming from the environments that I came from, it wasn't very prevalent. And that's why I've been doing a lot of healing and trying to find ways to better myself mentally, spiritually, physically, the whole nine. And one thing that I do also realize is that there's a lot of cynics out there. What I mean by that is, I never intended this podcast to be all about mental health, which it's not, but it does come up very often on this show. But there has been, I've been hearing through the grapevine that there's been people that, they enjoy it for what it is, but then they also have a problem with me always focusing on the mental health aspect. The only thing that I could say to that is it's a conversation that needs to consistently keep being brought up, because there's more people out there that have not heard the message, that have not heard the show, or it's basically a reminder that this is not something that's going to go away. One of the things that I always compare therapy and working on yourself mentally and spiritually and emotionally is the same as going to the gym and working out. If you keep on working out, you're going to see results. But you got to keep it up. The moment that you start seeing the results and then you're all ripped and jacked, whatever term you want to use, and then you just figure, all right, this is it. I'm done. I don't need to do anything else. And then you're going to fall back to square one. Therapy is just the same as that. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that when people actually go get professional help and then they feel like they're all cured, quote unquote, then they feel like they can go on with the rest of their lives and that's it. Then everything's going to be rainbows and unicorns and so on and so forth. And then you go back to square one because there's trigger. There's a lot of things that you haven't covered. There's a lot of things you haven't healed. There's a lot of things that you forgot. You're not practicing enough and so on and so forth. But I just say that to say that for anybody out there that has a problem with the mental health aspect of the show, whether it's on this show or whether I go on other guests, other podcasts as a guest, or even the IG Live with Kim, shout out to Kim, I feel like I'm not going to stop because it's a daily reminder for myself. It's a daily reminder for people that are out there that are still struggling. And I got to keep the message going. And not just me, but everybody else that I know in my circle. Shout out to my last guest, Jose Cruz, aka The Real Mozo, who had a fantastic time on the show. I had a blast talking to him, and he is somebody that I've looked up to on social media for quite some time, and I love his message. I love how he's genuine, and I love how people have been receptive to his platform. And I also love the fact that he knows that this is an ongoing thing, and he has to keep the message going. And my respect and my love goes to him indefinitely. But as far as January is concerned, I gotta say 2024 has actually been a hell of a lot better than almost the majority of 2023. And I feel real good about that because it's only been 1 month and it's still early and there's a lot left to go in the rest of 2024. But so far, spirits are up, doing good, making some changes going forward. And I would say that the biggest change that I decided to do for 2024 is I've made a decision not to date in the entire year of 2024, and I'm gonna explain why. So I was hanging out with my best friend. It was his birthday a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how we're in our late 30s now. The majority of our friends and family are around our age range, more or less. They have careers going for themselves. They're married. They have children, and we got some things going on for ourselves, work-wise and career-wise, but there's still a little bit of that void missing. Like I've never been married. I don't have any children. Neither does he. And, my love and respect goes to him because he actually just got deployed over to the Middle East. He's he's an army soldier. He's a veteran, and he's going to be overseas for the rest of 2024 fighting for our freedom. So thank you for your service, my man, and I hope you enjoy this episode when it comes out. But as far as I'm concerned, I feel like one of the things that I try to do for 2024, and this is why 2023 was such a big eye-opener for me, was I really need to give myself a break. I need to love myself a little bit more daily. And I feel like part of the reason why I've been such a self-deprecating person is I try to mask it as joking around and it's a sense of humor, and it's part of my DNA. I don't think it's ever going to go away. So live with it, die with it, whatever it is. But I feel like I've been listening more about this idea that even when it's all jokes and kidding around, you're still kind of putting into it existence. And as I'm getting older now, I realize that I'm starting to look at things a lot more with an open mind and not be that person that I was 10, 15 years ago where I thought I knew everything and I don't need to listen to anybody else because I thought that life was already hard for me. So I feel like I've done it all, I've seen it all, and I know what to do going forward. But little did I know the rug was pulled from under me, and I had to go back to square one. But back to my plan. So I'm not going to be dating for the entire year of 2024, and that includes no dating apps. I haven't been on a dating app in months anyway. I'm not sliding into DMs. I'm not trying to reach out to girls. I'm not going out with the purpose of trying to find my soulmate, quote unquote. And I have a lot of things going for me right now. I have this podcast, I have the IG Live. We just started resuming filming on Night Season 3, which I'm looking forward to that as well. There's a couple of other projects, acting and directing wise, that I'm going to be getting into that I'm contractually not able to speak on it right now, but it'll be brought out to the masses soon, so be on the lookout for that. But I have a lot going for me right now, and I just feel like I need to step up my game in a lot of ways as far as like my career, my financial situation, become a better host on the podcast and all the other mediums. And also shout out to Hugo from the Hugo Boy podcast. He is also the co-host of Yo BTV Sports of Bravely Network here at Bravely Studios. Yes, thank you very much, Steve. But yeah, no, I got a lot going on right now, and I think that dating is going to be not a top priority for me, and I think it's a perfect opportunity to being able to take this time to actually love myself. Because what's that old saying? That old saying is you got to learn to love yourself before you can love anybody else. So I'm going to be taking that approach going on for the rest of 2024. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat here, and I think it's actually pretty valid. I think it's pretty fair. So as I mentioned, that I'm not going to be pursuing dating. I'm not going to go on these dating apps. I'm not going to be sliding in DMs. I'm not going to try to, work my way into, seeing what could happen or build some kind of chemistry with somebody that may be there that I find attractive. I'm actually going to be focusing on the law of attraction, if you will, where I'm going to let my positivity and my radiation and my appreciation and love and respect for myself be allowed, not just dating wise, but anything that is opportunity wise that is bound to come into my life to happen to fruition. And we've all heard this before. We've said it so many times to each other, and sometimes we have troubles, doing it ourselves. Where it's all about actions, and even though actions are stronger than words still have their own power. So it's all about using that power in the right way. But yeah, no. So the caveat is that while I'm doing myself and I'm healing and I'm trying to find the best version of myself and I'm doing all of these things and everything, if I happen to meet somebody and they just completely blow my world, where I feel it in my mind, my heart, my soul, my body, everything that is assurance. It's assured that this person is, as the kids say, my person. Then I have to take it seriously. But I think as far as like me trying to purposely go out there and try to find it and put myself in a position where I want it to happen and see where it can happen and build from there. That's gonna be taking a back seat for the rest of 2024. And like I said, I think it's gonna be a good opportunity for me to focus on myself, my financial situation, and all the other opportunities that I got going for myself. And I want to focus on that. And if it ultimately happens, then so be it. And I feel like I'd be crazy not to, go with it if I actually feel like it's there. And, one of the things that I feel like it's really cool to try that approach is I know a lot of married couples or even people that are they've been together for so long. And it seems like the majority, if not all of them, the ones that are really truly happy, the ones that are destined to be together forever, they didn't meet each other through any social media or any dating apps or anything. They met each other through different circumstances. One of my former friends actually met his wife at a wedding. I know somebody that met at a party. I know some people that used to work together. I know this and that and the third. And when I look back at my history of dating, I've had at least 6 or 7 serious girlfriends, but only 2 of them, the first 2, mind you, were not through the internet. They were through other means. Like I remember I met my first one at a mall, and the second one was through a mutual friend. And I feel like ever since then, it's just been nothing through the internet, whether it's MySpace or Hinge. Basically MySpace to Hinge going forward. And It's like just getting on like on that hamster wheel. And I also feel like it's kind of counterproductive when you kind of stop talking to somebody or things don't work out with somebody, and then afterwards you go back to the exact same place where you found them. I know that people do it, and I feel, and unfortunately, this is the only way where people can meet nowadays. Especially around my age range, and they don't have any children or any other responsibilities at hand. But this is the new world, and I feel like me not being on those platforms right now is a perfect opportunity to focus on myself and not worry so much about who's going to love me and who's going to be for me. And that's not even just romantic wise. I'm even talking about in all aspects of life. I want to be appreciated by my colleagues, my friends, my family, whoever my significant other should be in the future. But at the end of the day, it all starts with me. If I don't work on myself, then how do I expect everybody else to appreciate the work that I've done on myself and being able to radiate great things to others as well? So that's the approach that I'm going to be going forward with in 2024, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, we'll see how that works. I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. And like I said, we just reached the end of January. There's 11 more months of this year coming up, and there's a lot that can happen in a year. And 2023 was a pure microcosm of so much can happen in as little as 12 months. So, but like I said, it was an eye opener for me, and I'm really ready to see what 2024 is going to bring, because especially what I've learned in the past couple of years, especially last year, I know my mistakes, I've learned from my lessons, and I want to apply that going forward. And I really, really feel optimistic going into this year, and I really hope that everybody else feels that way too. So as I also mentioned before, I want to give a shout out to the writers and the actors and creators of Nights Season 3, which is the television show that I will be acting in, mostly co-directing, and I've also been anointed as one of the executive producers. This is actually really fun. I'm looking forward to this. I don't want to get into the intricacies of why it got delayed for several months. Realistically, we should have been done with this season already, but I don't want to get into it about what happened behind the scenes. But it's not for me to say. I can't really speculate, but it was a good breather for the time, because there was just so much things that were happening so fast. And I think it was also a good wake-up call, not just for myself, but for everybody involved, when, we realized that there's a bigger task at hand and we shouldn't let petty differences get in the way. And that's all I'll say about that. But I'm looking forward to it. We just started filming, another episode this past weekend. I got dirty. I got muddy. One of the things that I noticed about this TV show is that something always happens. Every episode, it seems like it's an adventure. There's going to be times where I might cut myself, or I injure myself, sustain some kind of injury, or I dirty my clothes, or I rip something. There's something that's always happening to me while I'm on the set of the show. But you know what? I wouldn't continue doing it if I didn't love it, because this is part of the business. So with that being said, I made the silly, stupid mistake of wearing these nice Nikes, my Jordans actually. And we were out in the woods, and it was dark, it was cold, it was foggy, and we were around a lot of mud. So the next morning, I just had to make sure that I had to scrub those bad boys down, because the amount of dirt and mud that I got on them, and also my pants, was crazy. I don't know what I was thinking that I can go on to set wearing Jordans or whatever. From now on, I'm going to be wearing steel toe boots. I already have plenty of them because of my day job, but yeah, I just have to be prepared, and I might as well get a first aid kit, because like I said, there's always some kind of injury that I sustain, not so much anybody else, but maybe my clumsy self isn't aware, but there's always something that happens when I'm on set. But at the end of the day, I have a lot of fun with it. Shout out to Jean, shout out to Lamar, shout out to Shem, shout out to everybody involved, and let's make a hit, man. Let's make a hit, and I'm looking forward to it. And I said also that I got some other I also got some other films in the works, but I'm contractually obligated not to speak about it right now. But just know that I'm really proud of these projects, and it's crazy how I never thought that this trajectory of my life was going to happen. Like I said a million times on the show before, I never thought about acting, maybe voice acting, sure. And by the way, that is in the works. But as far as like acting, getting in front of the camera, that was something that I never pictured ever doing, because of my insecurities and so on and so forth. But I'm finding a real knack for it, up to the point now where I'm actually immersing myself into acting classes. And I want to thank my boy Joel for actually pointing that out to me, because he said that you could be the most skilled, talented performer out there, but it's still a very smart idea to do a class, because you're going to get some kind of benefit from it. And one of the benefits, or one of the things that I feel like is very important to learn when I did one of these acting classes recently was, hypothetically, let's say I go into a room, a casting room, and I'm up for the role of a part that I really want. I may not get it, I may not win the role, but I win the room. So with that being said, maybe they don't think that I'm the particular person for that particular role that they want, but they're going to remember me from my performance and how I was dedicated to my craft, that they're going to remember me later down the line for something that may be even more exponentially, beneficial. And that's something that I thought was pretty cool, because there's a lot of stories in Hollywood and, people trying to make it in that business where there's a lot of discouragement. They get cut down. They don't think that they're good enough. It leads to a lot of depression and insecurities and so on and so forth. So that's one of the things that I think is beneficial about doing an acting class, because they get you prepared for what you need to get they get you prepared for what you're getting into, and it basically shows if you have the chops to do it or not. And if you have the passion for it, I say go for it. In anything that you want to do in life that you're passionate about, go for it. Because I feel like we live in a time now where it's so cynic, and we get so scared about what the future holds, and we always put these negative thoughts in our heads and so on and so forth. And that comes from our previous generation. Like one of the things that I know about my father, God rest his soul, was I remember when I got him, I was looking forward to getting him a job at the job that I worked at the time. And it was going to be good for him because it was going to be less strenuous physical work, and he was going to get paid more, and this, that, and the third. And this is when he was working at a really shitty job that was killing himself physically, and he wasn't getting compensated well enough for it. And but I also know that was kind of his fault. And the reason I say that it's fault, because there was a better opportunity for him, but he was already having those negative thoughts about like, oh, I don't know if it's going to work out. Or what if I quit this job and I go to that one, then they fire me and then I'm going to be all assed out. You got to eliminate that way of thinking. For somebody like me who's a pretty self-deprecating person, never even puts that into mind. I never doubt myself, and I have pretty much good confidence that, I'm always going to land on my feet career-wise and job-wise. I'm not worried about that. Not that I say that I want to lose my job or anything, but I'm just saying that if it were to happen, I know I can bounce back on my feet because I've done it so many times. But it's that negative thinking that I think affects a lot of people, where they don't want to take chances. They don't want to take risks. They want to stay safe. They want to have the sure thing, even though if it doesn't make them happy. And I actually read something on social media today, which I thought was really prevalent, where they were like, you're not burnt out because you're working too hard. You're burnt out because you hate your job. And I feel like that's also with anything, not just your job. It could be with anything. If you get burnt out on anything that you're doing, it's because you never really cared for it. You never had a passion for it, or you just reached this fill and you no longer enjoy it. You no longer love it. And now you're taking out your angst on that. And I know it's easier said than done, because I've been subject to this as well, but that's really the key component to know that when it's time to move on. And listen, I'll be completely front honest with you guys right now. The current job that I'm working at is good. I wish the pay was a little bit better, but it's certainly less of a headache compared to my last job, where it was paying great pay, but I was stressed out mentally. I had to up my dosage on my medication. My body was breaking down because of all the physical work. And that's when I learned that, you know what, sometimes there's some sacrifices that you have to take in life, and you can't put a price on a peace of mind. So even though I'm taking a little bit of a pay cut, it's actually beneficial for my well-being mentally, and I no longer waking up dreading every single day going into something that I don't really care for, and I know that it's not going to be eventually good for me in the long run. So I say that to say that if you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling like it's not going well, or you're having those negative thoughts where it's affecting you mentally to the point of depression and anxiety, it's just time to move on. Now, it's like I said, it's easier said than done, and not everybody has a backup plan, but to solve a problem, you have to realize that there is a problem. And I think that's another thing that people fail to realize. But if you realize that there is a problem, that's the first step. After that, you just got to figure out how to solve that problem, and then eventually it'll come to you. But figuring out that there is a problem is the first step. And as far as everything else going on in 2024, I'm looking to try to do some things to elevate the show, First Class Second Place, that is. Like I said, I've been dipping my hand into the directing thing, and I think I might add some more creative visuals to the show, and I want to get better at that. And I'm going to speak to the lovely people here at Bravery Studios to see if they could help me out with that. And yeah, I just feel like there's going to be some changes coming to First Class Second Place. And also, one of the things that I think is really interesting about the show, particularly, is yes, I started off first as an interview show, and then now I've reached to the point where I have repeat guests, or I have people that are not necessarily into the whole interview aspect. They just want to sit down and have a concise, good conversation, a discussion. God forbid a debate, because Lord knows I'm not a great debater, but you know, that's what the people want. You know, like interviews are just a dime a dozen. And, you know, even though I pride myself in being a great interviewer because I like to do my research and so on and so forth, I feel like, why am I doing homework, essentially? I mean, I enjoy it, but, you know, this should be fun, and this shouldn't be pressure on myself, and this shouldn't be pressure on my guests. So now the focus has shifted from, it's no longer an interview, it's a conversation. And I'm looking forward to a lot of people that are coming on the show. I mean, we're at the end of January, but I'm booked with guests all the way until April. So that goes to show that there's a lot of people that want to be involved with the show. And that's actually very humbling to know, because that goes to show that people really are taking the show in a good light, and they want to be part of it in some way, shape, or form, as opposed to just trying to get exposure and so on and so forth, because that's not what this platform is about. You have an album out, you have a book out, you have a movie out, and you just want to promote that, there's a million other podcasts that you can go to and promote that. The audience here wants that rawness, that realness, that grittiness. We want to know about you. We want to know about what you're about. We want to know about your motivation. We want to know about your experiences. And that's what you're going to get here at First Class Second Place, as opposed to just getting free promo on the show. And some people don't like it. I've had several guests tell me that, yo, I don't like the fact that you got all deep and personal on the show, man. That's not, well, you know what? You didn't do your homework. If you actually do your homework, you will know what the show is about in the first place. This is not something that's a stepping stone that could catapult you to the next superstardom or anything like that. You want to get raw, you want to get gritty, come to the show. Anybody else? You can go to any other's podcast. There's millions other out there. I'm sure that they would have you. And but yeah, no, there's some things that are coming in the works with First Class Second Place. I don't have all the details laid out just yet. But I just know that I'm going to look to elevate the show in ways that is going to be beneficial for myself and the audience. And yeah, other than that, I'm looking forward to possibly starting my own short film in the future. I've been inspired by Joel from Meta and Eileen Marcella, two former guests on the show that I have an immense and absurd degree of respect for. And they're kind of doing their own thing as far as that's concerned. And it's inspired me to try to do something of that. Now, I have a little bit of an idea of what I would like to do and what it would like to be about, but I'm going to keep that close to the chest for now. But just be on the lookout that 2024 is going to be a year where you're going to see a lot of creativity from Jason Enrique as far as directing is concerned. So I'm really looking forward to that, and that's just my little small announcement until further notice. And like I said, it's all about actions, not words, and I want to be able to put my actions into play, and then afterwards let my words back it up, if that makes sense. I don't know. But yeah, no, and now also one of the crazy things I'm realizing, and I know from my older audience, it's, you know, this is nothing to them, but this year in 2024, I'm going to be 38 years old. I know that's still relatively young and so on and so forth, but it's really jarring for me, and not in a bad way, but it's kind of jarring for me, because it's not only am I getting up there in age, and I realize I'm getting wiser, and I'm recognizing the world a little bit more, and so on and so forth. But it's really jarring in the sense that there was even a point in my life where I didn't think that I was even going to last this long. There was a time where I actually, you know, as I mentioned before, there was a moment where I almost did take my life a couple of years ago, and back when I was 21 years old, I was hospitalized, and I didn't think I was going to make it, but I'm still here. And I don't know what my purpose is yet. maybe I'm doing it. Maybe I'm just not open-minded to it yet. Maybe I haven't recognized it. Maybe, Steve has to hit me over the head with a shovel or something for me to get some common sense. but but yeah, no, it's really jarring for me because I didn't think that I would have made it this long, but also realizing how much stuff I'm starting to learn and all of the things I'm starting to get into in my age of 37 going on to 38. And it's all been amazing. It's all been amazing. I met some amazing people. I've eradicated some bad apples in my life and so on and so forth. So now going forward with that formula, I'm really excited to see what 2024 has in store, and I'm really excited about it. I really am. I can't wait for everybody to be a part of it, especially that want to be included into my journey. I welcome all, and yeah, I hope it's going to be a fun ride, and I know it's going to be a fun ride. I'm putting that out to existence. See, Steve, I'm trying to do this right now. I'm trying to actually add more positivity into my dialogues right now. Thank you. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to keep this episode short and sweet. I just wanted to let people know what was going on in my mind. I wanted to let people know that everything's going well. I wanted to let you guys know my plan for 2024. Some of you that are watching this right now, I hope to continue working with you. I hope to keep on building with you. And also taking over this world and being the best versions of ourselves. And, this is a team effort. That's the way I want to look at it. This is not just me. I mean, I know that there's going to be a lot of self-reflection and a lot of working on myself that I'm going to be doing, but I'm not that selfish of a person. I want to be able to have a team there that's going to have my back as much as I'm going to have theirs. Marvelous. And this is also just perfect. And I want to thank a couple people. I mean, obviously Marv for welcoming me here to Bravery Studios. He's been really somebody that has been kind of like that good guy on the shoulder. When you have that good evil person on each shoulder, you have like the angel and the devil. Marv has actually been on the good side and been really a big supporter of mine and making me feel like I am part of the family, and it's just nice to have somebody like him in my corner, and I'm really grateful for that. I also thank I know I give this guy a lot of love on the air, but maybe not enough off the cameras. But I really appreciate Steve for everything that he's done, not just on First Class Second Place, but we've actually had some really good conversations about our personal lives. We definitely have the similarities about our fathers no longer being here with us, and I think that's connected us in a deeper level as opposed to just colleagues. And I appreciate that somebody of his caliber is able to connect with me on that level. Also, big shout out to my boy Hugo from the Hugo Boy podcast, and also the co-host of Yo BTV Sports. I always knew that I wanted to do some kind of sports show in some way, shape, or form, and I've been having such a blast with this guy, and I just want to continue to be the best co-host and the best friend that I can possible to give you guys the best show that we can possible. Even if you're not a sports fan, I think there's something in there for everybody. So be sure to check out that on Yo BTV Sports on YouTube every Saturday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. More episodes coming soon, and the Super Bowl is about to be over. But you know what? We have a lot more fun stuff in store for you. And how about the Knicks, man? The Knicks are actually the most well-run, organized team in New York right now. Who thought that I would have? Whoever thought that sentence would ever come out of my mouth?
Don't like it. Learn to love it, because it is the best thing going today.
And something else interesting, Steve, that I actually might become a little bit of a wrestling fan finally, because I know that it's been getting pretty prevalent. It's getting a lot more popular these days, or maybe it just never lost its luster and I just didn't know that. But what's pretty funny is that thanks to Hugo, I've actually become a big fan of Bayley. So I think I have another reason to watch that wrestling from now on, but we'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I wanted to keep that short and sweet. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listening to this and watching this. For those of you that don't know, my old account was hacked on Instagram and everything else. So instead of my old account, and if you haven't followed it, please follow it now. It's at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, YouTube, everything at I am Jason Enrique. Just go check it out. More stuff for you on the way. More guests on the way. looking forward to all the people that are coming on the show. We got some really great guys lined up for you. And also looking to more solo episodes like this. Once again, I really appreciate people that really respected my honesty and my vulnerability the last time I did a solo episode. This is a little short and sweet. This is an appetizer for you guys until further notice. And I want to thank every one of you guys for tuning in. Thank you to Bravery Studios. Thank you to Hugo. Thank you to my mom. Once again, a huge happy birthday to my grandfather, 101 years old. God bless this man. Shout out to my boy Dre, who's out in the Middle East right now, fighting for our freedom. And shout out to you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being supportive. Thank you to all the other podcasters I've had the fortune of joining in recent, whether it's We Outside After Work, whether it's The Rick H Show, whether it's Free Gems, whether it's You Go Boy, whether it's Cape Pod, Bravery Studios, Mina Mendoza, all of you guys. I love every single one of y'all. Therapy Without a Degree, thank you so much for being part of the journey. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your platforms, and I look forward to working with you guys again. And most importantly, thank you again to the audience for being the real bloodstream for first class second place, because without you guys there is no show. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Again, you can find me at Jason Enrique. Nope, see, I gotta do it all over again. It's like when you write out a rent check and you write it for the wrong year from the previous year. So everything at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in next week, and this has been the First Class Second Place podcast. We out.